Here are the top 5 tips for getting cheap tax deed properties up to 90% off market value. So today we're going to dive into some cheap property through tax deed investing. And I want to share with you my top 5 new favorite tips. If you want to get into real estate, you want to find some great deals. So as we know, tax deed investing and finding properties at government auctions and government seized properties can be amazing. It's one of the best ways to get into real estate, especially in today's economy where prices are through the roof. We're finding ourselves in a really sweet spot in history where interest rates are up, inflation is up, so there's more of these properties that are going to auctions and becoming available than ever. Now, the thing is, the beauty of this versus 10, 20 years ago is you can find these properties as well from the comfort of your home. So if you're wanting to get into real estate, maybe you're working a 9 to 5 and you're like, man, those prices on Zillow are just going through the roof. You don't know where to stop. You don't know where to start. These are going to be my top 5 tips. So I'm Dustin Hahn. And if you haven't tuned in before, this channel is dedicated to helping you become a new real estate investor through the wonderful world of tax liens, tax deeds, and government seized property. I do my best here to help you get started with step-by-step action. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to obviously target some tax deed states. So as a rule of thumb, just remember here, as far as the tax deed states go, on the West Coast, you have Washington, Oregon, California, Idaho, Utah, Alaska, New Mexico, Kansas, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Memphis. We have Texas, Tennessee, Georgia, and Florida. New York, Ohio, and Indiana are going to be, and Alaska are going to be your tax deed states that you want to focus on. So how do we do it? How do we get some of these properties up to 90% off? Well, let's dive in. So one of the first things you need to do, in my opinion, is to go with states that are going to have less competition, okay? If you're gonna go for some of the big apples, meaning like the places that have the highest population and the hottest markets, it's gonna be competitive. For example, I was speaking with one of our students the other day, and they're like, oh, I really wanna go into Austin, Texas. I'm like, man, that is a tough cookie to crack, because the market there is so crazy. So what you're going to find is if you target smaller counties, there's going to be a lot less competition. And always remember this saying, the harder information is to find, the better it's going to be. Because easy to find information on properties equals too much competition and a waste of time, money, and energy, right? Because think about it. Everybody and their dog these days can go onto Zillow and find property, right? It's so easy to find it, therefore there's going to be a lot of competition. And from there, whenever you're dealing with realtors and things like that, if you're looking online at these places where the properties are just often in a nice bucket, especially with realtors, you know what they do? They all have networks of investors, and guess what? They call their buddies up. So, you know, realtors want to make money. They want to make it quickly. So by the time you see properties online, a lot of the times they've made that call to all their friends who have cash, and the smart investors have passed on it. And that's why it shows up online. So suckers, like maybe you up until today, go and buy it and pay too much. So this is why we do tax deed investing, okay? So this is why we want to target smaller counties. And if the information is harder to find, for example, what I love is when you find a county and it's like you Bill and Ted Excellent Adventures, you went in the phone booth and you went back in time. You know, the county looks like it's from the 80s or the 90s. Their technology sucks. They want to mail you things in the mail. Those are the counties that are going to be awesome because it's hard. You have to do a little bit of legwork to go and do it. So you want to target less competitive counties. Now, how do you do that? Once again, for everybody tuning in, if you like this stuff, do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you want to learn, you know, how to do this. We got tons of great videos. People have been loving these, the content, and everyday people watching this channel are going out and getting life-changing deals in this business. Some folks buy property for as little as 50 bucks with the techniques that we talk about here. So below the video in the description, obviously I give away the tax deed directory, all right? This has the phone numbers to all 1,500 counties, so you can call them up, see what's going on, and get the list. So that's in the description below, along with the guidebook called the ABCs of Tax Lien and Deed Investing. It's gonna show you exactly how to get started and all of the questions to ask the counties, like the parcel IDs. All of that is free in the description below. You can go get it here today. It's going to help you out quite a bit. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is attend off-season auctions, okay? So this is good because if you're attending a off-season auction, it means there's going to be less people there. So what is an off-season auction? You know, whenever you have a major holiday, for example, like in Texas or Georgia, the auction's the first Tuesday of the month. So for example, like the Labor Day weekend is often a good time, like when it follows on that Tuesday, because you have people in the county who are taking days off, people in the mortgage offices taking days off. You have less homeowners redeeming, you have less people at the auctions, okay? So that is a huge advantage. So that's what's considered like an off-season type of deal. So this will give you an advantage to secure one of these deals, all right? Now, the next tip for you obviously is to do, tip number 3 is to do the property research thoroughly, okay? What I love about tax deed sales is the fact that it wipes out the mortgages, which is awesome. You can get a free and clear property because remember, the tax lien, this is the tax lien here, boom, it's always the priority lien. So whenever they go ahead and they foreclose, like this watch case, this is the house, if there's a mortgage on it, they were here first, they notify the mortgage company, they say, hey, pay the taxes or we're gonna foreclose and wipe you out. So that's why I love this. And a lot of the properties that go to the sale might not even have a mortgage to begin with. And however, some folks will say, well, like, why would the mortgage company do that? You know, you have to think about it. People are human. I'm human. I leave everything till the very last minute. You know, I'm a greatly flawed human being. I leave things till the last minute. And it's the same thing. If a mortgage broker has a pile on his desk, you know, maybe he was out partying, you know, some of these bankers, Wolf of Wall Street in it, getting into stuff. And then the auction's on a Tuesday and they're like, oh no, they're hungover. And then they miss it. They don't pay the taxes. It goes to auction. They get wiped out. And then you know what the poor banks do? They just write it off as bad debt anyway. So away we go. And that should make you mad because banks are one of the largest investors of tax liens out there. If you have money in a savings account, there's a chance that the bank is using that for tax liens as we speak right now. So you should really do this. All right. Tip number 4. Tip number 4.1, if you like this stuff, hit the thumbs up, hit the like button on this video if you like it. And remember, all of this is below in the description, the free book, all of that sort of stuff. So tip number 4 is don't overbid. Set a max bid on your properties, all right? So like, for example, you have to use some intuition. Meaning like if the property looks nice, the grass is cut, you know, it looks like people are living there, you can probably be a little more generous with your max bid. However, if you show up, it's boarded up, count on a full rehab in your budget for that property. It doesn't mean you have to do the rehab. What it means is you need to factor it in. So for example, if a house is 1,000 square feet, it's boarded up, there's grass all over the place, a dumpster bin there, you can't see inside, it's gonna be probably 75, I'd bet $80 a square foot to do a full rehab. If it's 1,000 square feet, that's 80 grand, right? And if it's $100,000 fixed up, be careful with that. I'd maybe bid $3,000 or $4,000. I'd flip it to somebody for maybe 15, make 10 grand. The other person can fix it up and still make some money, okay? Boom. Moving on to number 5. Number 5 is awesome. So my number 5 tip is to always look for over-the-counter deeds. These are properties that didn't sell at the auction. Some folks will say, well, there's a reason it didn't sell at the auction. Sometimes there is, but sometimes these slip through the cracks and you can find amazing deals. People who watch this channel have bought apartment buildings for as little as $50. And then I know people are like, oh, yeah, right. Here's the thing. These counties will have provisions, meaning like if it's an apartment building or something, they'll say, listen, we're going to give you this thing at a deal, but we want this thing fixed up, being a productive part of the community and tax roll within 6 months, so you can get some absolutely amazing deals without any competition, without any opening bid. These things are sitting in the county offices right now. So here's your homework assignment. Call some counties, the smaller tax deeds. You can go to Google, you can search it by population, and then from there you can Google the number or just get the Tax Lien and Deed directory here. Look up the phone number. So for example, North Dakota, deed state, say we want to call old Benson County up, 701-473-5340. Call them up. Hey, when's the sale? What's going on? What's left over? And then in this book, you have the questionnaires. You can ask them as well. Once again, it's free. I used to sell this stuff. Now I just give it away. And for anybody who wants to work with us a little more, we do live now in-person auction trips. So if you want to come join one of these trips in person, just go ahead. There's a link in the description. All the details are there. If you want some one-on-one help, maybe go into one of these auctions, you can book a call with us. We'll help you. We do some mentoring. We do some coaching as well for people who want to reach out. And some people will say, well, if it works so good, why do you have this channel? You know, I never intended to do this channel. It just kind of took off. And you know what? People go through my stuff. They go through the free book. They bring me deals. They bring me properties. I partner up. Raises everybody's boat. So You know, there's always going to be the negative nannies in the comments. It's the best you can do. It's the best I can do. I appreciate you tuning in. Like I say, thumbs up, subscribe, check out everything, watch some more videos. More importantly, though, go get some deals, make some money. That's what we're here to do. We'll see you in the next one.